Hello, everyone. My name is Nathaniel Freeman, and this is Free Man's Money. And today we have kind of an interesting video. I wasn't really thinking of any topic specifically, so maybe we'll just chit chat and see where that takes us. So, something that's been on my mind is financial planning, and some people think it's been like this huge thing that they don't want to get into. Or it sounds good, but they just don't want to put in the effort. And let me tell you, it is a big thing. It's not something where it's just because once you start getting into it, there's so many different directions you can take it, and it's really complicated. And then people like stress when they find out about it, but then they start learning about it, and they'll learn the simple, basic facts of becoming wealthy. But then they're gonna hear all these other people's like opinions and like how this person got super wealthy or this guy made millions doing this. You can do it too. So there's all these distractions floating around too. The easiest way to become wealthy is budget your money, build an emergency fund, invest in broad-based index funds, buy some real estate, and then just keep investing in broad-based index funds. You can have just your own house, but if you want to go in real estate investing, there is ways to do that. But staying in those two markets and just keep doing that, keep investing your money, simply easy. You will become financially wealthy. Broad-based index funds, we're talking like index funds that encompass all of Canada or North America, maybe some ones that encompass all of Europe. Um, Nothing too tied to a specific sector, although they do have those, and those are something to look into. But just do those two things, and you'll be wealthier beyond you all imagined. You'll live lavishly in your golden years. You can retire young. You don't have to worry about money. It's there. But if you want to retire earlier, if you want to do it fast and like go hard at it, putting more money into those things or really loaning something specific like real estate investing or I personally like things that are tangible. There's these things like NFTs and Bitcoins. I don't like these. I want to own something where it's like I buy a piece of this company. I buy a piece of this real estate. I can go there. I can get that. If I buy a piece of a company, I can go to that company. I can buy something from them. With NFTs, that's well, what an NFT is it's a collectible for online stuff. So pretty much you could have. I saw one that was a tweet, some guy's first tweet. Some guy took that, made it into an NFT, and then sold it for like $100,000, something ridiculous. Um, but it's pretty much an NFT is when you take something online and you take the original of it and you make it yours, and it's held together the same way Bitcoin and blockchain and all that stuff. Well, it's held together by blockchain, but Bitcoin follows the same kind of thing. But it's kind of like a collectible online. A lot of people buying these, a lot of people spending money on them. That's not what I like. I don't want to dip into that. I want to stay stuff that's here and now. Um, so I buy stocks. I own real estate. Only own one house, but you know, um, yeah. The other one is Bitcoins. Bitcoin is a little bit different because Bitcoin is a currency or designed to be a currency. So in the idea of Bitcoin, it could be like, oh, you're in Europe, well, now you're in Asia, but you can use the same currency. Um, and with Bitcoin, there's a set amount of Bitcoins that can be made. So you have like, you don't have to worry about massive rises in inflation and whatnot. And it's all tracked by blockchain. And the reason I don't invest in that is because there's starting to get some debates about people that make Bitcoins that were like $51 it costs to make this Bitcoin, while this guy is spending $1,400 to make his Bitcoin. So which Bitcoin is more valuable? Do they have the same value? In essence, they have the same value. But then some people are worried about places like China where they'll just manufacture a bunch of fake Bitcoins. But then they talk about how blockchain will block against that. But how do you determine the quality of the Bitcoins? And there's all of that, which is a lot of stuff I don't know that much about, and I don't want to get into it. But the idea of owning a coin Like if you had a coin in your pocket that was worth $75,000, what are you gonna spend that on? Unless you slice it up into a billion different pieces, in which case, why wouldn't inflation take hold of it? Because now you can chop it up as much as you like, which means it's like the planet. If you took it and you're like, I have one planet, I'll sell it to you for this. And then you said, okay, I'm going to say I can sell this planet twice because I'll just take this little piece off of it. Um, you can just divide it and it won't be the same as the original, but you can divide it into smaller pieces, increasing the value overall. Um, and it's so volatile, right? So one day you can buy a hotel room with this. If let's say a hotel room was ridiculously expensive, the next week you couldn't buy the same hotel room. So I don't like that volatility. I would like something more stable. Now, volatility is the reason why it's been so popular because people make massive amounts of money quickly on it. And there's nothing wrong with investing in that stuff, but know the game you're playing in. And it's one of those get rich schemes that will distract people who will just like, I want to become financially wealthy. They'll take 5 years of their investments, toss into that, and they might lose it, they might win it. It's a risk either way. Or like GameStop, there were a lot of people that bought at $30 or $300, and it jumped down to 200, I think, or it might be below 200 now. I'm not sure, but a lot of people lost money. A lot of people made a bunch of money. It depends on which side of the spectrum you're on. Stocks are a zero-sum game. Now that means that if you're winning, somebody else is losing. Now with GameStop, there was a huge amount of giant hedge funds who gave us massive interest rates, who bet against the market, want companies to fail. There are some that disseminate misinformation online just to make the stocks fall. So taking those guys' money, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. They were doing some crooked stuff, or at least some of them. I'm not going to make accusations, but there has been times in the past where companies like that or big investors have done crooked things to drop the value of stocks to make money. Um, that happens. No game's perfect. There's always going to be people trying to rig it against each other, especially in life, because financially it's a zero-sum game most of the time. Either you're going up or you're going down. Bonds are a bit different, but bonds are a guaranteed investment where you can buy and it's like in this amount of time we guarantee you this amount of money, and that's they have their place in the market too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah. Anyway, so with inflation and all the money we printed last year, inflation's going to be coming. Inflation can affect stocks negatively, very short term, but in the long run, stocks do fantastic. Especially with the amount of money that was printed. Like we're gonna see like 30% more money was printed last year. So you should see roughly everything getting 30% more expensive, unless all that money gets spent and it just shoots up to the ultra wealthy, in which case you'll see assets go up massively in value, which means that the top 1% will get further ahead while everybody else stays behind. And you know what? That's probably what's best for everything. I know that sounds terrible. Oh my God, the top 1%, they're going to make so much money off this. Well, it's either that or everybody starts paying 30% more for everything. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was working at a job, if I walked up to them and I said I'd like a 30% raise, they would probably laugh in my face. And you guys can try this if you guys work for somebody or you have a job, but go ask for a 30% raise because everything got more expensive and see what happens. So, because of that, the top 1% getting 30% more ahead. And you got to remember, the top 1%, when they make this large amount of money, it's not just sitting in their bank account. They take it and then they go buy investments, which means they go pay into companies. They go expand everything, because the more money that's flowing into companies, the more innovation they can do, which means they can make more stuff, which means they can make that stuff cheaper eventually, which means we all get more stuff. It doesn't sound like a bad plan. It's not a bad idea. And if you're watching this channel, there's a chance that you want to be part of the 1% not next year, but in the future. And why are you going to hate on people that are doing what you want to do? That just doesn't make sense. But inflation, it could be a rocky road. Now it should inflation usually scares a bunch of people because the stock market doesn't like stuff that upsets them. So then prices might dip a bit, and then you'll see this massive growth. The reason that inflation causes it to dip is because one of the ways we control inflation is by raising interest rates, which means debt gets more expensive. So all the companies that took out a bunch of debt, now they have to pay more to pay back their debt, which decreases the amount of money they can spend on other things, which means the companies are less valuable because they have less cash flowing and they're able to do less. Obviously, if you can do less and you have less, you're worth less. But that's short term. Stock, like if you're comparing the two, bet on the stock market. Holding cash, betting on the stock market. Broad based index funds, there you go. You'll be fine. Um, but yeah, a lot of people, when you start going down this journey, there's a lot of things to distract you. I buy into individual stocks, which is, you could define as one of the distractions, but I'm taking the blue chip way, long term companies, big, um, they pay out dividends. One of the other things to get, well, I'll explain what I'm doing. So they pay me dividends. I take those dividends, I reinvest them. There's only like two stocks that I've been disappointed with, and by that it means they're paying me dividends, but they haven't grown anything in this market. And yeah, that's not the best choice. I wouldn't say I have the best stock portfolio out there, especially when it comes to dividend investing. There's probably a billion different stocks that are better than the ones I own. But I've been seeing decent returns. I can't research everything on the market, and I take my time, I invest, and it goes well. And I'm very happy with my progress. Um, Here's one of the other things to consider when you're talking about stocks and investing. There's going to be a ton of people who come up to you and they give you their ideas. Oh, I did this with my money. You should do it too because of this, this, and this. And that all might sound good. A lot of things sound good, especially when you don't really critically think them. When you don't compare them against different ideas, if you're not knowledgeable, if you're just starting out. There's a famous line from richest man in Babylonia, where he said he doesn't take advice about buying jewels from a bricklayer. He takes advice about buying jewels by people who make jewelry, and he takes advice about bricks by someone who works with bricks. Um, so that's one thing to consider. Don't take advice from people who aren't doing it, who don't have the skin in the game, who don't know what they're talking about. Two, it's really easy to sound like you know what you're doing when everything is going up. If everything's going up and you're bragging about your returns, well, everybody's got returns. Yours might be better than somebody else's, but that doesn't mean your investment was a better idea. I mean, short term, if you made more money than somebody else, then yeah, you made the better choice. But long term, it's about the pitfalls. When you take those hits, how heavy are your hits? Can you manage those hits? How hard, like how much can you mitigate them? Also, like if everything's going up, the fact that your plan went up, that's not bravo. Everybody went up. Okay, good job. At least you're in it. At least you're in the game. But everyone went up. Like when I bought this house, I bought it because it was exactly what I wanted. It wasn't about I wasn't thinking about like the asset of owning a house, how much it's gonna appreciate in value. Like I didn't know the answer to those questions. Nor did I like that wasn't the point of me buying a house. It wound up being part of the house. Like it's definitely a factor, but I was exploring the market for a few months. Nothing I was within my price range was what I wanted. This house popped up, I jumped on it, and I think I got a great deal. Some of the guys I worked with, they were like, yeah, that seems like a silly deal. I looked at it and things are way overpriced right now. You should have waited. And then this past year happened and everything went crazy. Well, this house could be worth 50%, if not more, in value, and it could be going up even higher. And people are like, wow, that was a really good investment. It's like, I didn't know that, and you didn't know that either. People who nobody knew that this COVID was happening, so it's kind of a special occasion. But nobody knew that, so I'm not like I could brag about it. I could go and be like, I'm a great real estate investor, blah blah blah. And I could walk up to people and be like, I made 50% gains in 1 year. And I could talk to a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing, and I would sound like a freaking genius. Like I could be, but I had no idea. I don't know what I was doing. It was an accident of coincidence that happened. Now, one thing I can know is that the average price cost in London, Ontario is about 600,000 right now. But we draft about 8 to 9 months behind Kitchener Waterloo area, according to some real estate friends of mine. And their average price now is 900,000, which means that over the next year we could be seeing another 50% rise in property values in London, Ontario. St. Thomas, given that it's so close to that, will also see a good rise in the market. Knowing that, would I buy more real estate in London? I would research it. I would do the homework. I would figure out what's happening in the market. Is this something that's going to last long? Um, and then I probably would buy more real estate because I would do that. I don't have the means to do that right now, but I would. Um, yeah, but there's also the factor of like when people talk, hey, are we in a bubble right now? Well, you can't really tell you're in a bubble till the bubble pops. It may seem like we're in a bubble, or was it we were in a depression beforehand? Or are we keeping up to like what's happening in the economy? Or like we don't know if it's a bubble till the bubble pops, and nobody can tell when it's going to pop. Everybody likes to say it's a bubble because prices have risen astronomically, but who really knows? Because, like, if there's a bubble, where's the top of the bubble? Oh, we don't know. Well, then how do you know you're in a bubble? How do you know that it's just massive? It's not just massive inflation or massive. Um, there's a huge thing with 20s to 30-year-olds right now where they want to get into real estate investing, where they want to build financial independence. And that's absolutely fantastic. That's great. I'm no complaints about that. But with that, with people with this dissemination of knowledge that has been caused by the internet and different movements, file movements, and people talking about real estate investing, how do we know that the prices here are a reflection of that added buying power? Taking the fact that there's a limited amount of houses right now, and that apparently Canada is going to be seeing almost 1 million immigrants within the next few years, and that there's roughly the size of, I don't know if this one is true. I don't know if this one's true. But there's roughly the size of London, population wise, living in Toronto that's unregistered and unable to buy a house right now, but could be coming up to that. I don't know if that's true or not. That was something I heard. I didn't even read it, and I don't even know where I heard it. So don't quote me on that. But if you have a massive amount of people wanting to buy something, market value, because it's so stressed, and if you don't know about market value, you can watch my video on it, but let's talk a little bit about market value right now. Market value is dependent on how much somebody's willing to pay for something. It's entirely dependent on the buyers, how much they're willing to spend. Now, if there's a smaller amount of something, the market value of something will go up because more people want that, so more people are willing to bid on that. All price is a reflection of that. Probably. That's probably a piece of it. Is it a piece of tons of people wanting to buy properties? Yeah, that's definitely going to be a piece of it. Is it a large amount of immigrants that could be coming and wanting to buy properties, foreign investors? Yeah, that could be a piece of it. Is it John wanting to buy his own house and not wanting to live with me anymore? I doubt it because he loves living with me and he's a crazy kid. So these are all factors. So we don't know if it's a bubble or if it's just a factor of our changing economy and changing mindset of becoming more into real estate investing. We don't know. A lot of people like to think they know, but it's got so many factors and so many. The only way to tell would be to census the entire population and then ask them individual questions about their personal finances and their goals, as well as monitoring individuals investing like how many people are bringing how much money foreignly to this country. Um, Good luck. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of individual questions. Then you have to scale them. Um, yeah, I don't think anyone's doing that right now, especially with COVID. You could do it, but I don't think anyone is because no one's ringing my phone. Um, yeah, good luck. But unless we do that, we don't entirely know. And even if we do that, how many people have you known that are just like, oh, I want to do this, 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 and then they find out this random thing here, and the next week they're doing the other thing. People change their minds all the time. Um, who knows? Who knows? Um, but real estate, you're always going to own the land. Well, technically, you own the land on the like Canada as a whole. They can sanction your land and just take it from you. But rarely, just pay your taxes. You'll be fine. Um, but yeah, generally owning land, good idea. Even if you do, even if this is a bubble and it pops in next month, prices skyrocket down. Hold the property, make your payments. Don't be over leveraged on your properties, meaning you can't make the payments if there's a massive drop in price. Play it smart. Don't risk it. Don't be silly. Um, Only buy things if you can afford them. Only invest in things you can afford to invest in. That's why I love dividend stocks. It's buy it, forget it, pass it, done. Um, but don't buy 6 properties if you can only afford 2. Because if that massive downfall hits and you can't pay out the mortgages, or the banks come and they try to collect the funds, it's gonna get tight real quick. You might, I think David Ramsey, he did the same thing, and he had to go bankrupt when he was in his 20s because of real estate investing. I think, um, I believe that's his story, anyways. Uh, yeah. So don't over leverage yourself. And other than that, investing in real estate, even during that 2008 crash, prices are back up to what they were before, if not higher. So eventually you will recoup your investment. And during that whole time, you could be renting out the property, gaining additional money. But we're just talking about the value of the prices. Value of the prices went back up above what they were before, and you got all the rent from all the years from before. What are we complaining about here? But you have to be able to hold the properties during those downspins. So yeah, it's always good to invest. It's always good to increase the amount of knowledge you know. Um, if you don't want to loan it, if you don't want to be a big real estate investor, but you just want to be safe in the future, buy index funds. You'll be fine. Buy index funds, S&P 500, broad-based stuff that there you go. You'll be great. There's tons of super wealthy people who make their own index funds that are broad based that you could also look at. Mr. Wonderful, I believe he has a high yield dividend investing one. Looks like a very good stock to buy. I think I'll be buying it next month or the month after that. I'm starting to dip into the US market a bit. I bought Home Depot. I only bought one share. They're super expensive, and the dollar is not the best to buy in it. But I'm learning about investing in the U.S. market. Not the difficulties of it, but the tax parameters. Being a Canadian citizen and doing it in my TFSA. Um, yeah, so there's that though too. But yeah, I think I'll do a tour of the house at one of my future videos. So that'll be for people who haven't been in my house. You can see what I bought for 225,000 in St. Thomas in 2019. 2018-19, because I bought it oh, maybe it was, yeah, 2019 is when I made the purchase, but I bought it in like December, so it closed in January 2020. um so yeah, short closing period. It was sweating. I was sweating quite a bit. Anyways, that was just my kind of general thoughts of just sitting down thinking about economics and what I just see when I'm talking to people about. Inflation's a big thing on a lot of people's lips right now. Um, People worried about interest rates skyrocketing. We're seeing the 5-year bond here in Canada go up, which means fixed rates are going up. I was on a few calls this week where we talked about the 5-year bonds getting close to 1%, which means, hey, fixed rates probably going to be on the rise again soon. We're probably going to see another boost up. So if you have people who are looking to buy or looking to refinance in a fixed interest rate, get those in because it could be going up soon. And they're right. They're right. Yeah, it's just the economy is a giant machine. If you shut down pieces of it, it's like shutting down pieces of your body. Good luck running your life without your legs or your arms. Or your, like, you can, oh, we're only going to shut down this little piece. It doesn't seem to be doing that much. Well, that little piece could be your thumb. Hey, your thumb's actually important for your everyday life. Try picking some stuff up without it. It'll be tricky. The economy is just, it's needed to be functioning. And if it doesn't function, the repercussions of that seem like the actions of the 1% when they're actually just the ramifications of not taking care of the economy. A lot of people complain, oh, the rich are doing this, this, and this. The rich are just investing in companies and trying to gain more wealth, or they're trying to make sure their wealth lasts. What's wrong with that? If you spend your lifetime or 5, 10 years working on something diligently to make money off of it, and then it starts making money and you get ahead because, hey, it takes off. A lot of people want your thing because you don't get rich unless you have something that somebody wants. That's the other thing. You can't, if you want to be like rich, wealthy, and you want to gain that over a short period of time, you have to have something to sell to someone that is worth more than what you paid for it. So with Warren Buffett, he bought stocks that, whether they paid him money or not, but when he sold the stocks, he made more money off of them than what he bought them for. Um, or you own a system, which is pretty much, hey, I have access to this and it helps you. So take Jeff Bezos. He made Amazon. You gonna stop using Amazon just to spite Jeff? No, you're not gonna stop using Amazon to spite Jeff Bezos. He's making money off of Amazon. But would you like to live your life without it? I like my books quickly, not taking years. Um, yeah, like they're providing a service. They own a system. You can complain about the system, but stop using it then. If you don't like the fact that the iPhone CEO is so wealthy, why do you own iPhones? Like, it's not that they're not doing something. You might not know what these people are doing. You might know people that have like millions of dollars, and you're like, this guy hasn't done anything for me. But he's done something for someone where he's bought something for something, or he's brought a valuable skill or system to something which someone was willing to pay for it. It's not like they're just, and even when you invest in stocks, there's a large amount of stocks that do poorly. But if people weren't investing in stocks, they wouldn't be able to take that money and innovate and create new things for them. Like buying iPhone shit or iPhone stocks, whatever it's called. Apple, buying Apple stocks. The people are making money off of Apple stocks, those greedy guys. But buying those stocks gives Apple the ability to innovate and create your iPhones. So I wouldn't just hate on the 1%. One, you probably want to be part of them, and being born in North America, you have a 10% chance of being part of the 1% for at least 1 year of your life. So I wouldn't hate on your future self too much. And two, if we didn't have people with tons of wealth, we wouldn't have things that were created by these tons of wealth. Like Elon Musk is ultra rich and wealthy. Huzzah, let's give him more money because look what he's doing with it. Like, you try to make an electric car company, it would be really hard. You can't even clean the dust bunnies from under your bed half the time. You're not going to make an electric car. Um, yeah. So the economy is a very big thing, and it's big in a way where people can't even conceive of all of its moving parts. Um, I can like even me. I love the economy. I love thinking about it. I love watching it. I love studying it. I love looking at it. But there are so many things that I'm like, what? That happened? Oh, that would affect. That makes sense why that would affect that. But before that, I didn't even conceptually understand it. Like, I didn't know that was even a part of it. Like, the snowstorm that happened in Texas messed up a bunch of plastic making companies because they're chemical factories. And it turns out it's not supposed to snow in Texas, which messed up these factories for months. Which means that there is now there is less plastic around than there was before. Which means that a lot of people are stressing to find plastic, which means companies are paying more for plastic, like which makes the cost of everything that's made with plastic more expensive. Like it's the economy is this huge, like moving, dynamic thing, and shutting down pieces of it will have detrimental effects. Whether we can mitigate those, like if you can't use your pinky for 3 days, oh my goodness, like get over it. It's 3 days. So it's hard to say how much of an effect what we've done to the economy will have. I have faith in humanity that will always come out. Well, it's like, okay, yeah. We had this problem then, but we made through it. Like, look at the Great Depression. Look at World War II. Look at history in general. There were some rough times that we made it through. So I have complete and utter faith that we'll make it through and people's lives will be managed. Things might change, but everybody will be living way better than we were 100 years ago. We'll see, but that doesn't mean that it won't have effects, and it doesn't mean that those effects are not significant, right? Anyways, I don't know how long this video is being because I recorded on my phone and I can't see it, so we'll shut the video off there. If you guys want to hear more of me just talking about economics, let me know. Yeah, I just sat down. Either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. It's Easter. Happy Easter. Um, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys here next time.